Hi, good evening to one and all gathered here. GDH Varkala presents a scheduled Zoom class based on the topic Globalization and Challenges of Ayurveda. First of all, thank you for joining with us. And I feel honored to welcome a great personality, Dr. V.L. Shyam, for leading an interesting session for us. And before going to start, I would like to introduce our respected speaker, Dr. V.L. Shyam is the medical director at Dr. Shyam's Ayurveda Center, has branches in Dubai and Ajman. He is the first Ayurveda practitioner licensed by the Ministry of Healthcare, UAE, in the year of 2003. Moreover, that he is also serving as a medical director, as a managing director at Back to Roots in Kerala, managing director at Natura Wellbeing in UAE, consultant at Purjil Day Surgery Center, Abu Dhabi. After completing his UG from Mahatma Gandhi University with a gold medal and MD in Ayurveda from Kerala University, he took MPhil in Business Management from Birla Institute of Technology and Science, Pilani, and Spa Management Program from Steiner School and Cleopatra Spa, UAE. He is the General Secretary of International Ayush Conference in Dubai and Faculty of Ayurveda in Southern California University of Health Sciences, USA, and editorial board member of International Journal of Ayurveda and Traditional Medicine, and also currently a part of WHO committee. He has received a lot of accolades for his contribution to the healthcare system. He earned a Golden Star Award for Birla Vaidyashala for Most Preferred Ayurveda Center in 2011. Distinguished Physician Award in 2017. Leader in Healthcare Award 2018, and in 2019, he received Ministry of Healthcare Award for the contributions to improve healthcare in UAE. We are proudly invite Dr. V.L. Shyam, and we are well privileged to have you here today. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And I truly appreciate, the government hospital in Varkala for giving me this opportunity. And I'm unable to see your faces, so I feel like I'm talking to a blank screen. Hope it's okay. You're all familiar with this. So wish I could see some of your faces, because I don't want to make a routine PowerPoint presentation. Rather, I like to communicate with you. So if you have any questions, please put it in your in the chat box. And so let's start. First of all, convey my my advance greetings, for the Christmas and the New Year. We hope this 2022 is going to be a better year.
Thank you, sir.
Sending my greetings from Dubai, and currently I live here. I live in Dubai for the last 21 years now. I'm sure that several of you might have been to Dubai already, or some of your friends and relatives. They're all working and living in UAE. See, those who are not familiar about Dubai, see, Dubai is always fond of being the first, the largest, the tallest in the world. See, to tell you, we have the tallest building, the tallest hotel, the largest shopping mall, the largest man-made island, etc. We also have plenty of sunlight in UAE. See, however, the irony is that though we have plenty of sunlight, 81% of the UAE population suffer from vitamin D deficiency, making this country, one of the highest prevalence of vitamin D deficiency in the world. We'll run through the details. Those who like to pursue their career or establishing an Ayurvedic profession in UAE, you might be interested to know a little bit more about the country. The country, United Arab Emirates, or in short form, we call it like UAE. And it is situated in the Persian Gulf and bordering Oman and Saudi Arabia. At the same time, UAE is sharing the maritime borders with Qatar and Iran. So it is very well connected to these four countries. The country UAE, as you can understand in the name, it is United Arab Emirates. It's a federation of 7 emirates, or 7 small countries, consisting the Abu Dhabi, which is the capital of the country, Ajman, Dubai, Fujairah, Ras Al Khaimah, Sharjah, and Al Quwain. So these 7 countries, small states, small countries, forms the United Arab Emirates. See, each emirate, it is governed by a ruler. However, together, all these 7 emirates, they form the UAE federal government. So have some basic understanding about the country. Without that, if you are planning to appear for the MOH and DHA, you will not understand, what is DHA and what is MOH. So MOH is the health ministry for the federal government, while DHA, that is the Dubai Health Authority, that is the Department of the Health for the Dubai Emirate. And for Abu Dhabi, it is called DOH, Department of Health. And for Sharjah, it is Sharjah Health Authority. For Ajman, it is Ajman Health Authority. But all this comes under the federal government, which is the health policies and the rules and regulations. It's controlled by the MOH. So the MOH is from the federal government, while DHA is from Dubai Health Authority, and DOH from Abu Dhabi, and Sharjah Health Authority, so on. I will explain more about it later. And see, when you look at the UAE population, the total population of UAE is almost 10 million, and very small population. And out of this 10 million, 80% of the UAE population is expatriates. 80% of the UAE population is expatriates. So it's basically a multicultural, multi-ethnic population. And UAE, it is a home of 200 nationalities. So 200 nationalities means, if you talk anything in UAE, you are getting a reach to 200 countries. And out of this 200 nationalities, 25% are Indians. 25% are Indians. Another 20% is from Pakistan and Bangladesh. And maybe another 5% from countries like Nepal, Sri Lanka. So in brief, I can say the 50% of the population of the UAE, it is from the Indian subcontinent. And can others mute the mic so it's easy for me to communicate? Kindly mute the mic. Thank you. So what I was telling, so this country, 50% of the population of UAE, it is from the Indian subcontinent. So this 50% of the population, they have an understanding about Ayurveda. Rather, Ayurveda, it is close to the hearts of 50% of the population in the UAE. So this is the population scenario and the basics about the country. See, and this country, there has been a relentless pace of development in the last 20 years, and which was, of course, fueled by the petrodollars. And it has resulted, this country has one of the highest per capita incomes in the world. And the per capita income of UAE at the moment, I think it's above 70,000 US dollar. And the country is also rated as the second safest country on earth after Iceland, it being the safest country, second safest country in the world. So this is, a brief about the country UAE. And so this will give you an idea about, those who like to build their practice in the country. See, about this talk today, I'm not sure, should I share some slides and talk, or can I take it as an easy casual communication? If you have any questions, or if you want me to focus or highlight any specific areas, please let me know. I can focus more on those areas. And see, the topic, which we announced, was about the globalization and the challenges of Ayurveda. See, we know that the world, it has shrunk in time and space. Especially, it is with the support of the internet, telecommunication, and the aviation. See, as a part of this globalization, Ayurveda is also adapting as one part of a portfolio of alternative complementary therapies offered together with the modern medicine. And we all know that the practice of Ayurveda wellness, it has become a worldwide phenomena compared, or rather getting popularity as a complete health system or as a complete medical system. We know that, there are several Ayurvedic products available even in retail shops or supermarkets across the globe. Like, you name it, Ayurvedic cosmetics or Ayurvedic soaps, shampoos, they're all, widely sold in the developed markets. While the medicines are yet to enter. The medicines are yet to enter even in the Ayurveda approved countries. I wanted to share, one of my recent experience. I have a small Ayurvedic facility in Egypt, which I opened recently. I was in Egypt, a month before. So this clinic, we got an excellent, business opportunity in Egypt, a joint venture with one of the leading hotel groups there. In Egypt, Ayurveda is not yet recognized. So it is still, recognized as a wellness system only. It is not yet approved as a medical system. While in a country like UAE, Ayurveda is recognized as a medical system. So I wanted to explore, the opportunities of Ayurveda in a country like Egypt. So we announced, the opening of an Ayurvedic facility in Sharm el Sheikh, and we got the staff on board. We got, all the parties, equipments, everything, shipped from Kerala. So the facilities, everything is ready. And lately, I realized that the import of Ayurvedic herbs and Ayurvedic medicines is not allowed to Egypt. See, look at the scenario. And Ayurveda is global. Everybody knows about Ayurveda. And I'm sure that, several doctors and the therapists, they want to work, overseas. And so a scenario in Egypt, Ayurveda is import of Ayurvedic medicines is not recognized, not approved. So I have a situation here now. So I have among the Padajadushtayam, patients are ready, Bhishak is ready, Parijaragan is ready, but medicines are not available. So I had, a fire, I will find a way out of it. So I tried to explore. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, audible. Audible, sir.
Right. I tried to explore, the Egypt herb and spice market, and to see, whether these herbs are available there or not. So I took a translator together with me. I went to the Cairo spice market, and I went shop to shop asking the botanical name and the English names of most of the Ayurvedic herbs. You take, Gokshura or Tribulus terrestris or Ashwagandha, Vidania somnifera, Indian ginseng. I said several names. None of them are familiar to this spice market people. And then when I went to one shop, I asked these guys, instead of asking the English name, I asked him, what medicine or what herbs do you give for urinary problem? Then, with happy face, he brought some seeds, and I was surprised to see it was Gokshura. And I got, more interested. So I asked him, what herbs do you give for joint pain? Then Rasna came up. Then Ashwagandha came up. Then Tippali, Piper Longum came up. And then Haridagi came up. Amla came up. And I was like, a small boy in a sweet shop. So I could identify almost 100 Indian herbs locally available in the Egypt Cairo market. So what I wanted to say, now, I set up a small kitchen in Egypt, and I'm going to manufacture Trigadu and Triphala and all these oils, but made in Egypt. So what I wanted to say, for those, who are ready to explore and ready to face, these challenges, there are plentiful opportunities which comes together with this globalization. See, I cannot say that, all the projects I have done were successful. See, I have traveled to almost, 20 countries with Ayurveda. I have set up, more than 60 projects, 60 Ayurvedic outlets in different countries. But I cannot say that, all the projects I have done were successful. And I believe, in a philosophy that success is not final and failure is also not fatal. It is the courage to continue such exploration that counts. So coming back, to the subject of globalization. See, we know that, the horizons of the healthcare delivery system, it is changing and expanding. And if you watch, the last 2 decades, and there has been a great deal of excitement about Ayurveda across the entire world. And there is a continuing demand for, and there is a popular usage of traditional medicine in the Middle East and across the entire globe. See, recently, Saudi Arabia approved Ayurveda under the traditional complementary and alternative medicine. After, being approved in the UAE, in Oman, in Bahrain, and in the Middle East, I would say only Kuwait is left. And I'm sure that, Kuwait shall take the same path sooner or later. See, now look at the market forces. Keeping, this adverse market forces aside, you can see that there is a surprising number of general practitioners and the allopathic doctors in the Middle East. They are getting more and more interested in Ayurveda. And several times, the lack of scientific validation. Several times, we feel inferior, saying that we don't have enough, documentation. We don't have enough scientific validation. We don't have enough clinical trials. But the trump card, which I use is clinical legitimacy. The phrase clinical legitimacy, it can be used as a trump card that can override a question of scientific legitimacy. See, as a clinical practitioner, even if you give, water, if it is getting cured, if a disease is getting cured, it is a clinical legitimacy. See, according to my understanding and my feeling, the consumers as well as the general practitioners of the Middle East and the entire globe, they are overlooking into Ayurveda. They are overlooking into Ayurveda. See, now, when you are exploring the opportunities of Ayurveda, say, for example, you take Middle East, for example, you need to understand, a bit of regional aspects when you're trying to explore, Ayurveda into a country. You do it in Egypt, or you do it in US, or you do it in the Middle East. So to give you an idea about, the Middle East, see, the education and healthcare development, it was very negligible in a place like Middle East until the late 1950s. However, thereafter, the petrodollars, started coming, and there is a huge pace of development in these countries in the last 20 years or 25 years. So now you need to understand, a little bit about, I told already a little bit about the Uae population, and around 10 million population. Ayurveda is approved in the country. Saudi Arabia, the population is much bigger, almost 30 plus million. Ayurveda is approved in Saudi Arabia. Oman, Ayurveda is approved. Kuwait, Ayurveda is not yet approved. Qatar, Ayurveda is approved as a medical system. Bahrain, Ayurveda is approved as a medical system. So keep it in mind that in all these countries, Ayurveda is approved as a medical system. Ayurveda is not a spa system, or Ayurveda is not a wellness system in these countries. So if you take an example, say like you take UAE. UAE or the entire Middle East, it is generally a Jangala Desha. We studied about, the Jangala Desha. What are the qualities of Jangala Desha? Vada Pitta Bahulaha, Stira Katina Manusha Prayogatneyaha. Vada Pitta Bahulaha, Stira Katina Manusha Prayogatneyaha. Right? So it is a Vada Pitta dominated Desha. It is Jangala Desha. Right? So therefore, naturally, arthritis is very common. Arthritis, affects almost 20% of the UAE population. Because of the extreme summer and the Jangala Desha, it contributes further. Skin disease, as you take. In UAE, almost 200,000 people, almost 2 lakh people suffer from psoriasis. You take diabetes and metabolic syndrome. 1 among 5 people in the UAE is diabetic, 20% prevalence rate. 60% of the UAE population is overweight. Allergy, asthma, renal calculi. 3 out of 10 people in UAE has kidney stones. Back pain, our interesting topic. All the Ayurvedic doctors will be happy hearing, back pain cases. Almost, 65% of the UAE population has back pain. And depression, cancer, vitamin D deficiencies. I can see, smile in Dr. Aishwarya's face. See, several, Ayurvedic doctors, sitting here might be thinking that, to set a practice and to set a hospital in the UAE. I would say, you should certainly explore. But before you make up your mind to go behind an opportunity, let it be in UAE or US, or before you plan to appear for the Ministry of Health exam, you should ideally make a self-assessment whether you are qualified or you are fit for taking such an assignment. So I would request you all, to try to do a self-SWOT analysis. That is, understand your strength. What do you do well? And how can we build on our strength? Take a paper, write it down. What are your strengths and how can you build on your strength? And try to jot down your weaknesses also. Where do we need to improve? And how can we resolve this weakness areas? And opportunities. What are the opportunities, existing around in UAE or in Middle East? How can we make use of these opportunities? And what are the threats? How can we avoid such threats? So make a self-SWOT analysis. And also make your goals, very clear. What is your short-term goal? What is your long-term goal? See, I will tell you an example. I did my MD in Shalyatandra, and I could easily join in the service as a specialist medical officer. Most of my classmates after the MD are still serving at the government as specialist medical officers or as CMOs and or DMOs. So after I reached UAE in 2001, there were several opportunities which was coming in this area. So I tried to communicate with one of your favorite teachers, say like Dr. Prasad. So I told because Dr. Prasad, we were college mates. So I told Dr. Prasad, we have an opportunity upcoming in UAE. Would you be interested? No, Dr. Prasad, was very clear about, right? Shyam, I don't like to explore, overseas opportunities. I like to explore, Ayurveda practice and to be built in Trichur and in the surrounding areas, right? See, the goal is very clear. What is the long-term goal or the short-term goal? It's very clear. Then I thought of, my classmate, Dr. Gopagumar, right? But the aptitude for Dr. Gopagumar is to do teaching, right? So he might not perform, in such a scenario. See, so first of all, make sure that, your strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats, have an understanding about it and set the long-term and short-term goals. See, I wanted to say, there are plentiful opportunities, for the professional Ayurveda people in a country like UAE. See, I do meet, several young Ayurveda doctors who likes to explore the profession outside India. I wanted to share some experience, about hiring and interviewing process, which I did recently. See, we had a vacancy in Egypt, as I mentioned to you, and we have an upcoming doctor vacancy also. If any of you are interested, please let me know. I posted, this opportunity in the Facebook. I received almost 300 plus applications. And, we shortlisted it. And I personally spoke to 50 of them. And most of these young doctors, they think that this BAMS degree certificate, it is a passport to get a job. See, the clinical knowledge, when you evaluate, it might not be coming up to the expectation. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about those who I interviewed. The communication skills are poor. The practical experience is not so much. What are the, let me ask you, what are the 6 qualities of an ideal Vaidya? What are the 6 qualities of an ideal Vaidya? I don't want to cause a trouble for you. See, Vidya, right? That an ideal Vaidya should have a scientific knowledge. Scientific knowledge, with regard to the etiology, symptomatology, therapeutics, prevention of the diseases. They need to have a scientific knowledge. They also need to have vidarkam. That is, the critical and analytical mind should be there. Vijnanam, insightful understanding should be there. Smriti, that is the good memory. Tatparada, that is the dedication or the perseverance should be there. And the practical experience also should be there. Kriya should be there, right? See, Charaka is, very detailed about, what are the ideal qualities of a Vaidya and what kind of an attitude, a Vaidya should have. Should be friendly, should be compassionate, should be attached to the remedial. See, I believe in a philosophy that the weapons, learning, water, they all dependent for their merits and demerits on their holder. Imagine, I get an AK-47. I do not know how to use it. The strength of a weapon, depends on the warrior. We studied it in the Vaidya Subhashita Sahityam. Shastram, Shastrani, Salilam, Gunadosha Pravartaye, Patravekshini. Right? So, see, it leads to a basic question, for all of us. Right? Why do you want to be a doctor? Why do you want to be an Ayurvedic doctor? Ask this question again and again. You want to be an Ayurvedic doctor? Is it because you have a burning desire and do you have a passion for helping people? Or are you pursuing your BAMS merely to fulfill your parents' wishes? Or is it for making money? See, you need to have ask this question again and again. See, there are students, I met several students, who are not interested in Ayurveda, but, they like to have a doctor title in front of them. But I would say, this Ayurvedic profession is not for them. And I would also recommend you, don't do it for money, status or glamour. Unfortunately, being an Ayurvedic doctor is not a glamorous profession as you think. See, given that it will take at least 10 to 15 years before you becoming popular, which is when the money will start rolling in. So you need to be patient and hardworking for minimum 10 to 15 years and get ready to work harder than you ever had done before. Not just, working to cure the sick people, but you also need to study and you also need to get trained in very high pressure situations of while you are working together. But ultimately, I feel, this Ayurvedic profession can be rewarding. See, to tell you, my career growth, I started my career at a salary of 1,800 rupees. So I was talking about, the hiring process, So after interviewing, some of these candidates, were asking, how many hours, do I have to work? So can we, is it 8 hours work? And when can we expect, a salary hike? And which is the nearby school, for my son? See, I'm exploring, Ayurveda in a new continent, in a new country. See, those candidates, might not be fit for such a role. So even now, I tried interviewing, for a position, an Ayurvedic doctor having some business education and business understanding. So nowadays, there are so many Ayurvedic doctors who have an MBA degree behind them. And in the interview process, I was asking, can you understand, a P&L statement? Or can you understand, a balance sheet? No clue about it. Can you make a business presentation with the aid of PowerPoints and all? No clue about it. What is the point of, going for an MBA program, without having at least, the basics of these things? So I would suggest you, you make a self-analysis, whether you are a fit for exploring a job opportunity outside India or not. I'm not trying to make you disappointed. See, coming back, to the scenario in UAE. See, I mentioned already, 50% of the UAE population is from the Indian subcontinent. And naturally, as a result of this increasing public demand for the Ayurveda and for the alternative medicine, the Ministry of Health has commenced a wing named Traditional, Complementary and Alternative Medicine. In short form, TCAM. TCAM, Traditional, Complementary and Alternative Medicine. So this wing, this department, it was commenced in 2002. So I was lucky to be the first licensed Ayurvedic practitioner by the Ministry of Health in UAE. I will try to explain the licensing process. I'm sure that you all like to take the MOH license here and would like to practice Ayurveda. Let me just quickly run through these questions. Give me a second. Chances of Ayurveda in America, which are the important diseases in Dubai. In Kerala, very low money to get an Ayurvedic doctor. What is the salary to get Ayurveda doctor in Dubai? We have very attractive, package for the right candidate. UAE government give jobs to Ayurvedic practitioners. Not yet government jobs. But in the private sector, there are a lot of opportunities available. Okay, let's understand, how can we get a job in UAE market? See, as I mentioned you right now, it is recognized as a medical system in UAE, and not as a spa system. So with this aim of keeping the dignity of Ayurveda in UAE, and to ensure that the best kind of Ayurveda service is offered for the UAE public, the Ministry of Health, it has implemented few licensing formalities. Therefore, no person, let it be a BAMS holder or an MD holder, no person shall practice Ayurveda in UAE or in Oman or in Bahrain without first being licensed by the Ministry of Health. So successfully passing the traditional, complementary and alternative medicines qualifying examination, it is a prerequisite for the practice license. So I will explain, how can we take up this license. See, you can refer the website. I will type here www.moh.gov.ae. I put it in the comment box. So that is the Ministry of Health website. So you can get all the details of the traditional, complementary and alternative medicine examination on this website. Now I will explain you briefly how can we go to the different stages of applying for this examination. So first, you need to create a username and a password on the website. You need to create your own username and your own password. Once you create, your username and password, you need to submit your personal details into the website. That is, submit your telephone number, submit your email ID, submit your address, submit your passport details, etc. So usually that website will guide you how to go for the next phases. So once you submit, all the personal details, you need to upload all the documents, all the credentials, educational certificates. You need to have the degree certificate, the BAMS degree certificate. You need to have a 2-year experience certificate. Minimum 2 years continuous service is mandatory. Minimum 2-year continuous service is mandatory. See, now there must be a question. I have done my MD after my BAMS. Can this MD course be considered as an experience? Not really. I remember as per the new rule, MD equates to 1 year of experience. Those who are having an MD, you need to take another 1 year of experience before applying for it. Now, another certificate requirement is you need to have a good standing certificate. This good standing certificate, it can be taken from for those who are in Kerala, you can take it from the Travancore Cochin Medical Council or from the medical council in each state, or sometimes, even a good standing certificate from your organization is also accepted sometimes. So if they are not accepting, these good standing certificate from your organization, they will always, revert to you, upload the right document. You need to upload, all the mark list. You need to upload, the internship certificate. You also need to upload your BLS certificate. This BLS or the CPR certificate. Those students who know from Meghalaya, I'm sure that in Meghalaya also they will have a medical council will be there. You can get a good standing certificate from the medical council in Meghalaya. Or if it is difficult, try to submit with your organization's experience letter. So they will verify, and if there is any doubt, they will always come back to you. So this BLS certificate, any BLS course, which is recognized by American Heart Association is accepted. A BLS course, which is recognized by American Heart Association is accepted. So I think, most of the medical colleges in Kerala or in India, they offer such courses. And in case, if you are planning to come here in UAE, you can take the BLS course. It's only a 1-day process or a half-day process. The same day you can have the course, and in the afternoon you can take the examination. You can take the BLS course. So you need to submit all these documents, and of course the degree certificate need to be attested. You need to submit it, and you will be guided to the next process, which is the data flow. That is basically the verification of these certificates. So make sure that you don't submit any fake certificates, because this verification process, it is assigned to some agencies in India. They will come to the clinic where you worked, and they will inquire all these details. So make sure that you submit all the proper documents. And for the data flow, for the verification of the certificates, you will have to make a payment also. It is not free of charge. So an average cost will be around 700 to 1,000 dirhams. So roughly around 14,000 to 20,000 rupees. Roughly. If there are more certificates, there will be more amount. So what I would suggest you, if you want to apply, don't submit too many experience certificates. Submit only the latest relevant experience certificate, so you can save on the the data flow cost. So once the data flow, the verification of your certificates are done, now you can take dates for the examination. And always keep it in mind that the examination is conducted by the Ministry of Health, by the federal government. Don't apply for any DHA examination or for any DOH examinations. Apply only for the MOH examination, that is by the federal government. So the federal government will tell you whether you are eligible to practice Ayurveda in the UAE, let it be in Dubai or in Sharjah or in Fujairah. Currently, there are no examination centers in India. Actually, Ministry of Health had a plan to do this exam online, but it is not yet in place. Hopefully, by 2022, we might have, I'm not sure about it, we might have online exams. So right now, for the theory exam, you will have to come to UAE and appear for the exam. The examination will have two parts, a theory part and a viva part. The theory part will be based on the modern medicine. You need to study basically two textbooks. One is Davidson. I'm sure that you studied all these. Swanson's. Studying these two books will give you an understanding about the theory. You can find model questions also online, and most of the questions are MCQ based, and sometimes descriptive questions can also be there, but mostly MCQ based. Those who pass the theory, they will be asked to appear for an interview, and in the interview will be based on your clinical knowledge on Ayurveda. Some of us will be in the panel, and based on the BLS and based on the X-ray laboratory understanding. So basically, we want to make sure that you are a good clinical practitioner to cater Ayurveda for the Uae population. This is in brief about the examination process. See, those house surgeons and the junior doctors, I request you, see, the first 5 years of this practice, it is very important to build your profession. So you need to work with a lot of concentration, dedication, and with targets. And you should keep a target for professional excellence. You want to be a clinical practitioner, you want to be an academician, or you want to be a business person, still you need to work with a lot of concentration and dedication. And be courageous. See, you have a bachelor degree with you, you're a doctor, you can make money for your stomach for sure. Be courageous, be self-dependent. See, I know some junior doctors, for every patient, they call a senior doctor and copy and paste their suggestion in the prescription. Try to develop your own style. Try to develop your own ideas. Try to develop conceptual approaches. Of course, you should take inputs from the senior doctors, but try to develop your own style. And the attitude, as a clinical practitioner, it's very important. Smile at the patient, greet them, and present yourself, at the best health and grooming. Imagine, I go to a hairstylist whose hair is, messy. So as a doctor, you are supposed to present yourself at the best of your health and the grooming standards. There was a question about, should I do MD or should I continue practicing? I will come to that. See, as a clinical practitioner, you need to be good listeners too. See, in the interview, we try to assess all these parameters. I think, I'm taking too much of time, and I like to understand, what are your specific areas of interest, so that I can reply more in those areas. Okay, there was a question: if we have 2 years of experience in research, will that be counted for MOH examination? No. This MOH examination is for the clinical practitioner. So it is not for a researcher. But if you put across, that experience in a way that it is clinical practice together with research, it can be counted as an experience. No worries, I have not done, any kind of, modern allopathic practice after my MD. It is not at all required. But to clear the theory, to clear the theory examination, you have to study Davidson and in thorough, and to have an understanding about the question, just go through Swanson's, I think, family practice. There was a question about USA. Ayurveda is not yet recognized as a medical system in US, but Ayurveda is recognized as a wellness system in US, and there are several academies also in US, and I teach at one of the academy in California, the Southern Californian Ayurvedic University of Health Sciences, which offer an Ayurvedic program. Any marketing techniques in medicine? Okay, this is a very interesting area which I wanted to mention, and a lot of scope and potential for registering this Ayurvedic products. See, Ayurveda was recognized in UAE in 2002. It was not just Ayurveda. Homeopathy was also recognized. Unani was recognized. Chinese medicine was recognized. See, now look at the scenario. See, in front of a patient, now all these systems are there. It's like different fruits in a basket. You have Ayurveda in front of you, Chinese medicine, homeopathy, Unani medicine, and modern medicine. Now it is the choice of the consumer which system they want to go for. So we need to make sure that we give the best care of Ayurveda. Otherwise, the entire system, the name of the system will be hampered. So since the approval from 2002, hardly 20 to 30 or maximum 50 Ayurvedic medicines are approved in this country. Only 50 Ayurvedic proprietary medicines are approved in the country. On the other side, if you take the homeopathic list, around 250 to 300 homeopathic medicines are available across the pharmacies, because it was driven by the companies and the pharmas and the manufacturers in Europe. So I feel that the manufacturers and the producers of Ayurvedic generic products have not taken this opportunity very seriously. So there is a lot of scope, there is a lot of potential to explore with the product marketing and product sales. There was a question about how much you earn in this field in average in UAE. My doctors thing. See, I have doctors, junior doctors to senior doctors, working in my clinic. I have around 10 doctors working with me in UAE, and some of them they earn 1 lakh, But some of them, they earn up to 3 to 4 lakhs also per month. I'll tell you what makes the difference. See, most of the clinics, in UAE, they're all, going for a variable model. Variable model in the sense, you be a better clinical practitioner, you earn more. And, if you are not, want to build up your clinical practice, you earn less. So it is completely up to you. You can earn anything from 1 lakh rupees for sure. And the sky is the limit. One year in different hospital and 1 year in a clinic experience, that will be counted. But it should be continuous years of experience. So like imagine that, you have a break of more than 1 year between these two experiences. It will not be counted. Okay, from where the medicines and herbs supply in UAE. See, I told you, there are only 20 to 30 proprietary medicines are registered as a medicine in UAE. At the same time, most of these herbs are registered as a supplement through the municipality. So in my clinic, I keep around 200 to 250, different herbal combinations and recipes. So there are not less than 30 to 40 distributors, herbal product distributors and suppliers in UAE. Yash, I can connect you with them. MOH examination is not difficult if you study well. The criteria to select a doctor in my clinic. See, we have different opportunities. We have opportunities for clinical practitioner. See, for a clinical practitioner, I'm surely assessing that is Vidya, Vidarkam, Tatparada. We also have opportunities, who can contribute in the business also. Not necessary to have an MOH license even. But then you need to have a good business acumen. Not only, just an Ayurvedic practitioner. No, there is no age limit. Recently, I have seen a doctor at 50 plus years, appearing for the MOH exam. No such age limit. Yes. There are opportunities without MOH also. There are few Ayurvedic doctors, who work in admin jobs. There are few doctors who work in insurance segment. There are few doctors who work in spa and wellness industry. Those are all opportunities which can be explored. But I would suggest, why did you study for 5.5 years if you want to take up, some of those jobs? I told you it can be anything. Minimum can be, 1.5 to 2 lakhs minimum. You can make good money if you are a good clinical practitioner per month. See, since Ayurveda is recognized as a medical system, Ayurvedic consultation, the medicines and the therapies, everything is covered by the medical insurance also on a reimbursement basis. So there are practitioners, who charge only 50 dirhams for their consultation. And there are Ayurvedic practitioners who charge 200 dirhams also for their consultation. See, this accommodation package, it's all after, you clear the MOH exam, right? You need to identify a good organization who is ready to hire you. Don't think that, there are plentiful jobs, in the market once you clear the MOH. No, medical coding is not a clinical experience. See, when you try to practice, Ayurveda outside, you always, need to keep it in mind that what may work in India might not work overseas. Because, see, I will tell you a condition. Difference in desha, difference in the geographical condition, climatic conditions, it play a key role in the Ayurvedic treatments. For example, you all might be treating a condition like, fibromyalgia or a Vada condition in India. See, when we are treating a fibromyalgia condition in Kerala, a physician knowingly or unknowingly consider the Anupadesha of Kerala and prescribe medicines which are Vata Kapha balancing in nature. You go for, Charirasnadi or Rasna Saptagam or Varanadi, you may go for that kind of combination. Applying the same principle in a Jangala Desha like UAE, it might backfire. So we need to incorporate a Desha-based dosha involvement while practicing Ayurveda in a country like UAE. Say like, I can tell you other countries, where Ayurveda is recognized. Say like Malaysia, Ayurveda is recognized as a medical system. Currently, there is no examination procedure there. As long as, you have proper certification, you can get an MOH license from Malaysia. But job opportunities are very limited. Krishna had a question. Many people in your clinic, what is the secret of treatment in your clinic? There is no secret. There is no magic. I'm practicing clinics for the last 21 years in UAE. That is a secret. And I go to clinic every day. Even today, I met not less than 30 patients and came back. Yes, the consumers, they are well aware of all these therapies, Swedana, Snehana and all. See, what do a patient require? See, when they come to a clinic, coming with back pain, they are least bothered, they go for Snehana or Swedana, or they go for, allopathy or homeopathy. What they want is, they want cure. They want safe cure. As long as, you can offer a safe cure for the patient, they will come. So get the patient better alone is my motto. Inspiration for development. No, IELTS is not necessary. See, there is a lot to talk. See, we all have, very beautiful opportunities being an Ayurvedic doctor, because I feel that, Ayurveda, it is assuming a very important role in the field of healthcare delivery system and in the field of traditional complementary and alternative medicine across the entire globe. And as the holder of the traditional knowledge of Ayurveda, we and India can play the role of a holistic leader. And this globalization, it is offering enormous opportunities to India and to all of us in the field of Ayurvedic healthcare. And I believe, only we will be blamed if we miss those opportunities. See, we should not wait, until we have to get an Ayurvedic medicine prescribed by a conventional doctor and we buy the Ayurvedic drugs, from a foreign pharmaceutical company. We need to keep our tradition live, and we need to nurture Ayurveda to its core. Speaking Arabic is not necessary. I told you the local population is only 20%, and out of this 20% local population, maybe 1 or 2% might not speak English. Rest everyone speaks English. And several of them, the local Arabic population, they speak Hindi very well. Oh, the problems are plentiful. Availability of the herbs, scarcity of the therapists. And we are lacking, skilled Ayurvedic doctors. Dr. Aishwarya, can we wind up?
Yes, sir. Yeah, sure, sir.
I would suggest you this way. If you have any questions, please, you can reach me on my social media. It's Dr. Shyam Ayurveda. That's my social media. Or you can just look at vaidyashyam.com, this website, or www.drshyam.ayurveda.com. Any of these websites, you can get the details.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir. So shall I wind up, sir?
Can we? Because I have another meeting right now.
Okay, sir. So before going to the end, on behalf of GDH, it's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks. I extend my sincere gratitude for our distinguished faculty, Dr. Shyam, sir, for not only sparing his invaluable time for us, but also enlightening us with his commendable talk. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for spending time for us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Aishwarya, Dr. Sabine, right? Both are there, right? Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.